Well, this is at the heart of Krishna conception, actually. Sometimes Srila Saraswati Thakur, according to Guru Maharaj, would make some comparisons between Christianity, as it's generally understood, and Krishna consciousness, and talk about the fatherhood of Godhead and the sonhood of Godhead. So there's this generally, say, Judeo-Christian idea that God the Father, he's always seen in the father position. And as a somewhat remote figure, maybe even stern, right? Where the Old Testament ends with, obey me lest I smite thee from the face of the earth. This kind of, you better be obedient or the wrath of God will be upon you. And we know in the Sistine Chapel, in all its glory, still it's a stereotypical conception, anthropomorphic in the sense God, we're being told, he's the oldest, so he must be a very old man with a big long beard because he's the oldest living being. These kind of things. So, and still, he's in the father position. Then later, they have Jesus. I'm not going to go into Christian theology. But by contrast, in Krishna conception, rather than being a remote figure, overseer, permitter, bread supplier, he's in the center of all these activities. So of all the relationships that we can conceive, Shanta, passive, Dasya, servitorship, Sakya, friendship, Vatsalya, familial love, to conjugal love. He's in the center. He's at the center of all of these possible relationships. So that center, Akila Rasamrita Murti, Rupa Goswami in describing Krishna in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, says he is the nectarine rasa, source of all rasa, all possible loving exchanges, the full spectral range of possibility of any type of loving, affectionate exchange, he can reciprocate that. The one supreme entity can reciprocate the hankering of every soul in existence, everyone in the world. There's a brief saying of Srimati Radharani that Srila Guru Maharaj would quote sometimes. He says, Prati anga lage kande, prati anga more. Where he says, every atom of my soul's hankering is hankering for a particular counterpart. Not just I am hankering for my counterpart, but here it says, every atom of my soul is hankering for this counterpart. That is Krishna. Right? That is the meaning of the Absolute. Whereas here, one person cannot truly, fully reciprocate these ideal aspirations. For after all, what we aspire for is the ideal. When we imagine, envision our counterpart, and sometimes even expressed that way. People say, write your ideal criteria of who you envision to be your soulmate. And they have something, well, it'll be someone who's like this, they look like that, their eyes might be like this, they're carrying some ideal inside themselves about who that might be. or what they might be like. But what I mean to suggest here is to equate the ideal with the very absolute personality of Godhead. That really, if we search that ideal to its extreme, if we could refine it, refine our search criteria, right? If we could refine our search criteria to the infinite degree, it will lead us to the infinite source of all love, beauty, charm, sweetness, and all possible relationships. So, sometimes, Srila Guru Maharaj, it's interesting, some things that devotees, novices, neophytes, visiting his mat, those who maybe they'd been initiated a year or two, or a few, they sometimes express things about what they liked about Krishna consciousness in a very almost naive, childlike simplicity, because after all, from a spiritual point of view, they're babies. Right? But they sometimes said things that captured the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj, that may have melted his heart. So, more than a few times, he told of one meeting at the Mat where Srila Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada, had sent his disciples, perhaps for the appearance day of his Guru Maharaj, their Guru Maharaj, Srila Saraswati Thakur. Some such occasion, he sent his disciples to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. And different people were asked to speak, and one lady spoke, and what she spoke left a lasting impression upon Srila Guru Maharaj. And what she said was, in expressing her appreciation for Krishna consciousness, she said, "We're being given the opportunity to have a family life with Krishna. That's what I like. Is that opportunity is before us. We can have a family life with God Himself. That possibility, that prospect inspires me. I'm thrilled at the prospect, at the potential of that sort of prospect." So maybe that lady was not a philosopher, someone who could quote Vedic literature extensively, but what she expressed touched the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj. And it really goes to the core of Krishna conception. That really, that's what we want. We want to have a loving relationship with Krishna. When the Braja Gopis met with Krishna in Kurukshetra, after 100 years of separation, they expressed their heart's feeling. Imagine that these divine ladies, they so much love Krishna. The magnitude of their love is so great that blinking of the eyes, they're upset that the creator Brahma made eyes that blink, because for that, whatever it is, nanosecond or whatever the proper fragment of time is, they thought, for that moment we don't see Krishna. So, in fact, they're cursing Brahma and saying, "You're the creator and you don't know how to create eyes properly." These are, some teenage girls posing as teenage girls, right? As Guru Maharaj sometimes said of them, he said, these half-civilized jungle girls are the Braja Gopis. But they're cursing the creator Brahma for not making eyes properly, because they blink. And for that moment, we don't see Krishna. It gives us a hint of the type of love and affection that is in their hearts. In another place, Srimati Radharani, he said, I wish I had eyes like a fish, non-blinking fish eyes. Then I could behold the beauty and drink the beauty of Krishna constantly. And that's how they describe it, that they're drinking the beauty of Krishna's form, and it's entering their heart and stealing all of their senses. The sound of Krishna's name enters their heart, steals all of their senses. The form of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna, the fragrance of Krishna, all of these things somehow enter their hearts, rendering them their senses inoperable. And sometimes their senses start to compete with one another. If the ears, they're hearing the flute, and the nose is smelling the fragrance, sometimes they're told the eyes leave them, and the eyes run to Krishna, if that's possible. And apparently it's possible in that plane. So, and everyone that will say, oh, that's the Braja Gopis. We expect that from them. But that's their particular mood. The cowherd boys, they want to play with Krishna, their best friend, their brother. The little older gopis look upon Krishna as affectionate child, as do their husbands. So it's family life with Krishna at the center. So for devotees, devotee families, their life will be a happy one if Krishna is at the center of everything. Right? And if they will see, and this is something very extraordinary, but if they will see one another as eternal servitors of Krishna, superficially, husband, wife, child, daughter, son, these things. But on a deeper, and that's there, it's undeniable and there. But with the devotional eye awakened, they're able to see that who's my child is a superior devotee than I. My child has more devotion to Krishna than I do. That's possible. The husband of the wife of the husband. They can see as servitor, their servitor identity. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one of his songs, when this sort of genuine vision is awakened, then caring for that family and all their necessities is also Krishna bhakti, devotion. Because you're serving devotees. If we want it to be real, right? All these things are predicated. Sometimes Srila Guru Maharaj presented one of many things. He would say, I suppose you want to know, how far is it real? How far is it true? We could say anything. We can make any statement. We can take any statement from the scriptures and apply it to anything. But how far is it true? How far is it real? That we want to know. But the possibility gives us some optimism and encouragement and inspiration. So we hear some extraordinary examples of family devotees. We told the other day of Achyutananda, the young son of Advaita Acharya, 5 years old, chastising his father for saying that Mahaprabhu has a guru. Dvaita Acharya is taken to be Mahavishnu or Sadashiva, 5-year-old boy chastising him. Father, what nonsense are you telling that someone is Nimai, Mahaprabhu's guru? And he's the source of you and everyone else. And Brahma, after stealing Krishna's calves and cowherd boys, was begging forgiveness from Krishna. At one point he said, "You are my father, Narayana." Because he's Atma Bhu, he springs from the lotus navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Krishna, as the one, said, "How can I be your father? You're so old and I'm so young." And then Brahma makes his case. So it's true. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Pitaham asya jagato mata data pitamaha riksama yajurevaja." So that's true, but in Krishna's, you can say, Mahaprabhu asked one of his devotees, he met Raghupati Upadhyay, and said, according to you, what's the best spiritual conception? And Raghupati Upadhyay is a Ragamarg Bhakta of the highest order. So he didn't quote any scriptures, but his own writings, or his own compositions. Just as when Mahaprabhu pressed Ramananda to go further, to dive deep into reality, dive deepest into reality, Ramananda said, "I can't quote scripture anymore. I have something more to say. I don't know if you want to hear it, but it's something I've written." And so in a similar way, Mahaprabhu was saying, "What do you think is the best?" What did he say? Shrutim itare smritim apare bharatan manye bhajan bhavabhita ahangiha nandam bande yashalande param brahma. He says, there's the Shrutis, means the Vedas, what is heard, what is to be known, what is heard, this original spiritual sound, the original scriptures of the world. Right? And so Shrutis give some idea. We later hear them in Bhagavatam, Shruti bir brahmrigyam. Uddhava says, what the Shrutis are just pointing to, these girls, these teenage girls, the half-civilized, stupid jungle girls in Vrindavan, they've got Krishna wrapped around their finger because of the love and affection that is in their hearts. They own the copyright and trademark to Krishna, these girls. So I just want to be a creeper, blade of grass in the soil of Vrindavan when those girls are serving Krishna in various ways. Some of the dust from their lotus feet will come upon my head, thereby consecrating my existence. Anyway, he said, Shruti, the Smriti, gives another, corollaries, scriptures. I say like, what the mother, what is it? What the mother says, Shruti, like the sister. One's like mother, wife, sister, something like that. It says, yes, listen to your mother, or something like that. Anyways, in all these different things there, and the Mahabharata, that great writing, with Bhagavad Gita placed in the center of that necklace. Just remembering Gurudev quoting a sloka in London that he liked a lot about that Gita in relation to Mahabharata. I can't remember it right now. But anyway, he says, Bhava Bhita. They're trying, the whole idea of what you could get from the Vedas, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, all these different, they're all giving some idea how to get free from the world. Saraswati Thakur once said, what is disturbing us at present is what we call the world. So they've all got some plan, some program for that. And he said, with all due respect, he said, Aham Giha Nandam Vande Yasyalande Param Brahma. All these scriptures, they're trying to find some way to connect with the infinite, with the absolute, the original Supreme Lord, the supreme reality, the supreme absolute truth. But Nanda Maharaj has him crawling in his courtyard as a child. What did he do? I have some idea of what all these books say you can do or should do under certain circumstances. But what did Nanda Maharaj do to have Krishna crawling as a toddler in his courtyard? That I'd like to know. Right? And then Mahaprabhu, he liked this very much. No, he said, do you have any more? Could you say some more? Could this be discussed? Could you take it to the next level? Is there something deeper, higher, more refined? You could say. And he said, and Gurudev liked this sloka very much. What is it? What is it? Kam prati katayitam ise sam prati patitamaya tu gopaya gopati tanaya kunje gopa viduti vitam brahma. Where Raghupati Upadhyaya is saying, oh, who could I tell this to? And if I could find someone who was qualified to hear it, would they believe me? But that supreme, absolute truth, the supreme reality, the original source of everything, God, what is he doing? He's hunting these gopi girls in the Kunja in Vrindavan, hunting their love and affection. So he's saying, who can I tell this to? That this is what God is really like. And if I could find somebody, won't they just think I'm crazy? Are they going to believe that? It sounds crazy. It doesn't sound like we normally hear from scriptures, from spiritual people, from research scholars, from scientists. But this is the truth. That's what he's doing. He's so charmed by their self-giving, their love and affection, their whole lives, their whole purpose of existing is for him. That's why gopis make themselves look nice. That's why devotees make themselves look nice. It's for Krishna. They're thinking, oh, this body belongs to Krishna. Should look nice for Krishna, for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, Radha Govinda. So, but Srila Guru Maharaj said, he said here, in interpreting this, he said here we find that Raghupati Upadhyaya is saying, there's no one qualified to hear, and even if there were, who would believe me? He said, but the hint is that now that you have come, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone is going to hear this. And they'll believe it too. And that's why we can discuss this now. Then Mahaprabhu said, anything more? Did you write any more? Do you have another one? And Mahaprabhu said, I want to know, what do you consider to be the supreme abode? And what do you consider to be the supreme age or form of Krishna? And what do you consider to be the highest rasa with Krishna? And what did he say? Puri Marupuri Bora Kaishoram Deyam Adyo Raso Shama Sundar Rupam. I can't recall them. Shama Eva Param Rupam Puri Marupuri Bora Kaishoram Deyam Adya Raso Raso Para or something. Saying the supreme abode is Mathura. Within Mathura is Vrindavan, Radha Kunda. The supreme age, Kishore. And Krishna is in his teenage period where he's expressing youth to its zenith. And the supreme rasa, Adirasa. Arirasa means Madhura rasa. So, Achyutananda chastised the Dvaita Acharya. Srivas Thakur, his son, a little boy, staying with the theme of these little boys, he died during a kirtan. And all the ladies were in another room wailing. And when Srivas Thakur found out what the problem was, they said, your son has died. Mahaprabhu was in the next room having ecstatic kirtan with his devotees. He said, I understand that that's very upsetting, but Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the next room in divine ecstasy in his kirtan, and I don't want anything to disturb him. His son had died. We can think, oh, how callous. Is he callous? Or is there something else at play here? Later, when Mahaprabhu heard this, some hours went by, the kirtan descended above, and when he found out that his son had died, he thought, where are you going to find someone like this? He wouldn't tell me that his son died. He didn't want to disturb my mood, ecstatic mood. So he said, where is that boy? And they took Mahaprabhu to the boy. All the ladies, they're crying. And Mahaprabhu said, Gopal! And he opened his eyes. Yes, my Lord. Is there some service I can do? It is by your order and desire that I've come into this world, into this family, and I'm doing some particular seva, but I think now the time for that has finished. Is there some other service you require from your eternal servitor? That's the kind of family life we want. We know Raghunandan Thakur is the son of Mukunda, the physician, and that he, as a physician, he had to go like on a house call. And so his boy, who's, 6 or 7 years old, he's not accustomed to doing deity seva. The father told, you'll offer the bhog, the deity's lunch today. And the father went on a house call. Time came, Raghunandan approached the deity, brought the bhog and put it before the deity and said, my dear Lord Krishna, you please, bon appetit. But Krishna, I forget that deity. I think he was like that. Please, there's something wrong. He started to become upset, his heart. As Mahaprabhu asked Mukunda once, he said, in your family, who's the father and who is the son? Are you the father? Or is Raghunandan, who's the father there? And knowing Mahaprabhu's mind, Mukunda said of his son, Raghunandan, he's the father in this family. Why? Because he possesses superior devotion to your lotus feet. So Mahaprabhu was happy to hear that. So here, what others were doing as ritual or formula, practice, Raghunandan, he is a Ragamarg Bhakta. He has no rule or regulation can obstruct the flow of love in his heart. He's almost threatening the deity. Now you take prasadam. Now I want to see, like you tell the parents, I want to see you eating. And I want to see you eating. And the deity's heart is melted by being in the presence of such devotion. Now the infinite has come under the control of the finite, and now all rules are off. It's Raga Bhakti. So the deity can sit down and start eating and running. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Let me know if you need anything. Then we hear Mukunda comes home, and he's, after a hard day's work, he'd like to take some prasadam. He asked the boy, do you have some of the prasad? And Raghunandan goes, no, it's all gone. Krishna ate everything. And Mukunda is saying, usually the deities leave something. Usually, like we offer everything to them, and mysteriously, wonderfully, there's all this prasadam. Not today. Deity ate everything, didn't leave anything. I was thinking, oh. He's perplexed. He said, show me this type of offering style you have. We'll make some more. You show me how you do this. And they go, the two of them there before the deities. So the father's thinking, what are you? I'm such a fool. Do you think I believe this stuff? He leaves, and Raghunandan's pleading with the deity. The deity is eating. He goes, Father, come, look. Then the father comes back and he sees the deity is there. He has one ladu in his hand. He's like caught in the act. The infinite is caught in the act. And he sees the ladu in the deity's hand. Who will believe this? Mahaprabhu told Ramananda, Ami ek batul, tumi ditya. I'm the first crazy, and you're the second. Nice to meet you. So, one grihasta, family man in the Gaudiya Math, is it Professor Sanyal, perhaps? We know Guru Maharaj has praised Saraswati Thakur in his song Pranamami Shada Prabhupada Padamas, Jatiraj Ganai Parisevya Padam, the Jatiraj, the king of the sannyasis. And when we see the pictures of Saraswati Thakur, we're immediately grave. He exudes the greatest magnitude of gravity, gravitas, so Jatiraj. And this Professor Sanyal, his conception was everything is for the Vaishnava. He told Guru Maharaj once, if I go to read Bhagavatam on my own, it may be karma, it may be gyan, it may be karma. But if I read under the guidance of a Vaishnava, then it may be devotion. He thought he would not do anything unless it was the order of the Vaishnava. Because we believe the will of Krishna is expressed through the Vaishnavas. All the devotees were waiting on the train station platform to go on some preaching engagement. The train came, everybody got on, they saw Professor Sanyal standing alone. No Vaishnava told him to get on the train. So someone said, Professor Babu, get on the train. Then he got on the train, because it was the order of the Vaishnava. We're not saying everyone should be like that. This devotee, my dear friend Madhura Duty Prabhu, we're in Agra, boarding a bus to go to Jaipur, to catch a narrow gauge train to go to Jaipur. And it was, this is India. There's like 40 legitimate seats on the bus and 120 people, getting on. And he keeps going, oh, after you, oh, after you. And after he did after you to around 30 people, I said, Madhura Duty, get on the bus. So, anyway, that's Professor Sanyal. When he had a baby, had a little baby girl. So there's Saraswati Thakur. Professor Sanyal, people come and show you their baby. He came and put the baby girl on the lap of Saraswati Thakur. And Saraswati Thakur was holding this little baby, newborn baby girl. And Professor Sanyal said, she belongs to you. She is your property. And Saraswati said, then I want you to put her in your care. But he gave a baby. And that lady, what's her name? Meera, she's in England. I think her name is Meera. She was put on the lap of Saraswati Thakur. He said, she's yours, she belongs to you. So we need to know what the truth is. And then we can measure, assess, aspire from there. So the real, grihastha, or we say grihastha ashram, real Krishna conscious family life is an ashram, which means a spiritually progressive place where there are spiritually progressive activities. There's spiritual substance at the center of everything. Right? And we know in the case of Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, how many grihastha disciples are so dear to him. And how much they sacrifice themselves and their families and their children for his service. And when in Gurudev, he told, when he was a brahmachari, when some advanced grihastha couple would come to stay with Guru Maharaj in some particular place, that they were given a room, and Guru Maharaj gave Govinda Maharaj to them, who was Gorindu Brahmachari at the time, to be their servitor. He slept in the hallway to attend to their every need. On the order of his guru, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Gorindu Brahmachari, waited hand and foot upon those grihasthas because of their degree of dedication. As Guru Maharaj once said regarding the saffron dress and white dress, this dress, and he said, we're not interested in degree of dress. We're interested in degree of dedication. So, and we can say one of the sterling qualities of the Braja Gopis is that It's called Arjapata, they've given up their families in pursuit of Krishna conception. And they were not, they're not detached by nature. They have husbands, children, all these things, but they're willing to sacrifice everything for the service of Krishna. That is why they're so exalted. They have families, they have husbands, children, everything, but they're willing to sacrifice everything for the least service to Krishna. And we're told that's not an easy thing to do. We understand something about attachment in this world and family attachment. So that which has the strongest pull. So those Braja Gopis, when they met Krishna, those who cannot tolerate the separation for the blink of an eye, right? And the magnitude of their loving intensity is such that when the Rasa Leela was performed, Krishna summoned, and he gave Yogamaya the signal, observing three particular things, where we say the time, place, and activities, that we're told millions of knights assembled to become one. So Brahmaratri, Sahasra Yuga Parjantam, Ahor Yad Brahmanovidu. 1,000 yugas is a night of Brahma, means 4,300,000,000 years. So the Rasa Leela, Krishna employs the expansion and contraction of time and space in his pastimes. That one night lasted 4,300,000,000 years. But for the gopis, their love is so great, their hankering so intense, it was like the blink of an eye. So, union of the highest type, 4,300,000,000 years was the blink of an eye. And separation, the blink of an eye, was like 4,300,000,000 years. Those gopis, after 100 years of separation, the magnitude inconceivable to us, they again meet Krishna in Kurukshetra, and he's there in the dress of a king, surrounded by so much royal paraphernalia and entourage. And remember, they're simple village girls. And then, after all the protocol of meeting takes place, then finally they get a chance to see Krishna after 100 years of separation. And they Ahushchite Nalina Nava Padaravindam Yogeshware Hridibachintam Agada Bodhai Sangsara Kupa Patito Taranavalam Geham Jusham Api Manasi Uriyat Sadhana. They tell Krishna that once, long ago, you sent us a message through Uddhava to try and relieve the separation we're feeling in our hearts, and you recommended that we take up yoga. And we hear yoga is very popular. They're saying, but we're not yogis. We're family people. We're, fallen householders. Right? We're totally absorbed in family life. How are we going to do yoga? And what, we're going to become the yogi and then learn, and you said learn how to meditate on you? We can't stop thinking about you. And Krishna's saying, what are you, joking? We didn't think it was funny. You know, we can't stop thinking about you for a moment. Our eyes are leaving our bodies in search of your divine form. We cannot stop thinking about you. And you say, we should take up yoga and learn to meditate. That was supposed to be a joke from you to us. We didn't think it was so funny. I mean, it seems kind of humorous, but they didn't think it was funny. And they said, don't you understand who we are and what we want? We're family people and we want family life with you. That's what we want. Not this yoga, meditation, some kind of spiritual. That's not what we're interested in. You know our hearts, what we're really interested in. And we won't accept anything less than that. And we don't like your clothes. The king outfit. Where's your flute? Is this what happens to people? They leave their hometown and their friends behind, go to the city, now have the new clothes, new outfit, no flute, surrounded by, instead of Vrindaranya, now it's Lokaranya, people, forest full of people, and chariots, and noise. And what we want you, Shamas Goparup, in your cowherd dress, playing your flute on the banks of the Jamuna, like we used to play before. That's what we want. And that's the Rath Yatra where they're taking Krishna. Same idea, to take Krishna back to Vrindavan. He's also feeling separation from them. Jagannath is the ecstatic form of Krishna feeling separation from Radharani and Brajagopis in Vrindavan, where his arms have entered his body, eyes have become large, he's stunned, cannot move. They put him on a chariot and carry him there. How pleased he will be with anyone who assists in that divine parade. So Krishna says in response to them, Mai bhakti bhutanam amritatyaya kalpate dishtya marasin matsneho bhavatinam marapana. He said, everyone's trying to connect with me. Karmis and fear of impending karmic reactions, jnanis, yogis, everybody wants Krishna. They want me for their own purpose, to serve their lower purpose. But if they do get me somehow or other, they think they've hit the lottery. And they're so happy. What good fortune they have. He said, but I consider it my good fortune that I am the object of the love and affection that is in your hearts. That's my good fortune. And that I can't possibly reciprocate. It's so high, it's so wonderful. I can't do anything other than give myself to you. There's not a second thing I could give that would be commensurate to the level of love and affection and devotion you have in your heart. So I am yours. You own me. And Guru Maharaj said at that point, then Radharani told, all right, we can go. He's ours, he belongs to us. We knew it all along, but we needed to check. So we have a short time here. Sangsaresman kanardopi satsanga sevadirninam, to come in connection with the jewel of human life, the treasure of human existence, is to get the association of genuine devotees, Achyuta Gotra, those who are the family of Krishna. we want their connection. If we're so fortunate, Bhagavan Jeev, Brahmanda Brahmite, wandering length and breadth of the universe, to come in connection with them and their agents, then we've got the treasure that can be got from human existence. So, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Grihe tako, bane tako, sadahari bole tako, Nartam Thakur, Grihe ba bonete take, Hagaranga bole dake. Listen, whether you're in the family life or not in family life, you need to hear about Krishna, Guru, Gauranga, glorify Gauranga Mahaprabhu, get connection with their devotees, and then your life will be perfect. If you're in family life, your family life will be perfect. Hare Krishna.